I never expected my teenage years to be filled with such turmoil. At just 14, a time meant for carefree laughter and innocent adventures, I found myself navigating a war zone where love and betrayal danced hand in hand. My younger brother Ethan had always been reckless with money, a whirlwind of impulsive spending on video games and flashy clothes, while I labored tirelessly, doing chores and odd jobs just to save my hard-earned cash for my dream car, a symbol of freedom I felt was slipping away. After 2 grueling years of sacrifice, I finally managed to save about $2,000, a small fortune in my eyes, but it felt like a target painted on my back, and I had no idea how right I was. The first signs of trouble came like a thief in the night when I noticed small amounts missing from my savings. My heart raced with disbelief as I confronted Ethan, but he shrugged it off, a devilish smirk playing on his lips as if my pain was a joke to him. Frustrated and feeling utterly alone, I turned to my mother, desperate for her support, but she dismissed my concerns with a fierce loyalty that left me feeling as though I were invisible, a mere figment of her imagination. "You must be imagining things, Hope," she said, her voice sharp and dismissive. "Ethan would never do that to you." It felt like a betrayal of the deepest kind that she would choose him over her own daughter, and the fire of determination ignited within me. I would not be silenced or dismissed. Then one fateful day when $100 vanished from my stash, the anger boiled over, a bubbling cauldron of rage and hurt. I had had enough of the lies and deceit that suffocated our home. I stormed into the living room where Ethan lounged on the couch, gaming controller in hand, and confronted him, my voice shaking with fury. "Did you take my money, Ethan?" His eyes widened, feigning innocence. Why would I do that? Those words felt like daggers. With my hands trembling, I called Dad at work, my heart pounding in my chest, praying he would believe me, praying he would see my truth amidst the chaos. When Dad arrived home, it felt like the calm before a storm. He sat us down, his expression steely, the tension in the air palpable, as he demanded Ethan confess. "I didn't take it," Ethan insisted, but Dad's piercing gaze seemed to penetrate the web of lies, unraveling the facade. After what felt like an eternity, Ethan finally relented, mumbling an apology. But the damage had been done. I could feel the walls of our family closing in, trapping me in a nightmare of betrayal. To protect my savings, Dad bought me a combination safe, a gesture that should have made me feel secure, but instead ignited a firestorm of resentment in me, a spark that would soon explode. I still remember the night he hurled my safe out of my bedroom window. The sound of metal clanging against the pavement echoed like the shattering of my trust, reverberating in the hollow of my chest. "You're such a loser, Hope," he yelled, his face twisted with rage. "You think you're better than me just because Dad chose you for once?" In retaliation, Dad installed a flimsy lock on my bedroom door, a pathetic barrier against the chaos that was our home, a home that no longer felt like a sanctuary, but a battleground. But peace was fleeting. The tension continued to mount until one fateful day, my mother took it too far. She forged Dad's signature to send me to military school, a betrayal that left me gasping for breath. When Dad discovered the betrayal, his anguish was palpable. It was the final straw, and he finally stood up to her, something I had longed to see, but never dared hope for. "You can't just make decisions for her, Linda," he said, his voice low but firm. "Hope is not a pawn in your game." I felt a flicker of hope at his defense, but it was quickly extinguished when whispers of my mother's affair began to surface, a betrayal that cut deeper than any of Ethan's thefts, leaving my heart raw and exposed. Dad's heart shattered, and suddenly our family was crumbling. He filed for divorce, and the news felt like an earthquake, shaking the very foundation of my life, leaving me adrift in a sea of uncertainty. I made the difficult choice to live with Dad, leaving Ethan behind with our mother, who now felt more like a stranger than family, a stranger who had betrayed us both. "You're making a mistake, Hope," Ethan sneered, his voice dripping with jealousy. "I'm the more deserving sibling." As I packed my bags, a mix of sadness and relief washed over me. I was leaving the house that had once felt like a sanctuary, but had turned into a battleground, a place where love had become a weapon. The years of conflict had taken their toll, but now I felt a glimmer of freedom, a chance to escape the suffocating favoritism that had plagued our family for so long, a chance to find myself amidst the chaos. Looking back, I realize how deeply this experience shaped me. It taught me the value of standing up for myself, even when it felt impossible, even when my voice trembled with fear. Though my relationship with Ethan remained strained for years, a part of me still clung to the hope that one day we might heal the rift between us, that we could reclaim the bond we once had. As I settled into my new life with Dad, I often replayed those memories in my mind, a carousel of laughter and pain, trying to make sense of the chaos that had become my family. Every time I saw a car drive by, I felt the weight of my dreams pressing down on me. The car I'd worked so hard for, a reminder of the sacrifices I had made amidst the wreckage of my childhood. I found solace in my father's unwavering support. He listened to me, validated my feelings, and for the first time, I felt the fragile tendrils of safety wrapping around my heart. But the scars of betrayal ran deep, and I couldn't shake the feeling of loss for the brother I once adored, the one who had turned into a stranger, an enemy cloaked in familial ties. In the quiet moments, I wondered if he was okay, if he missed me too, or if our mother had twisted those thoughts into more lies, further driving us apart, deepening the chasm that separated us. The holidays were the hardest. The absence of Ethan's laughter and our mother's chaotic cheer felt like a void, an aching absence that gnawed at my heart, a missing piece of my soul. I often replayed the conversations we had shared, the laughter that once filled our home, and it hurt to acknowledge that it was gone, lost to the winds of betrayal and resentment. One day, I decided to reach out to Ethan, sending a simple text, "Hey, can we talk?" But my heart raced with fear, unsure of what his response would reveal. The wounds still too fresh, too raw. When he replied with a curt "why?" it felt like a punch to the gut. The warmth of our sibling bond felt like a distant memory, a ghost haunting the corners of my heart. I took a deep breath and replied, "I miss you. I want to understand what happened." My fingers trembled as I sent the message, each word weighted with longing and fear. His response was delayed, and I could almost hear the gears turning in his mind, the reluctance to let go of the anger that had become his armor, his shield against the world. Finally, he wrote back, "I'm not ready to talk, Hope," and I felt the tears sting my eyes. It was a stark reminder of how far we had fallen, how deep the rift had grown. Days turned into weeks, and still the silence lingered like a shadow, a constant reminder of the unresolved pain hanging over us like a storm cloud. I tried to immerse myself in school and friends, but the cracks in my heart felt too vast to ignore, and I couldn't escape the memories of our family, the laughter now replaced with whispers of betrayal. My mother's affair became a topic of hushed whispers at family gatherings, and I felt the weight of those secrets pressing down on me, suffocating me beneath their heaviness. It was surreal, watching my father try to rebuild his life while navigating the emotional fallout of our broken home. And I admired his strength even as my heart ached for the family we had lost. Yet I also saw the toll it took on him. Late nights spent staring at the ceiling, haunted by thoughts of betrayal and loss, a shadow of the man he once was. One evening as we sat together in silence, the air thick with unspoken words, I asked, "Dad, do you think we'll ever be a family again?" His eyes hardened and he sighed, "Not like we used to be, Hope." Those words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths, and I realized that some wounds may never fully heal, that some scars would remain etched in our hearts forever. But I couldn't give up on hoping for a better future, even if it meant facing the painful reality of our fractured family. Even if the path was uncertain and fraught with challenges, I sought therapy, trying to navigate my emotions and the complexities of my family dynamics. It became a refuge where I could unpack my feelings, a safe space to confront my pain. Through those sessions, I learned to forgive, not for Ethan or my mother, but for myself, to release the anger that had taken root in my heart, to reclaim my narrative amidst the chaos. Slowly but surely, I started to feel lighter, like I was shedding the weight of the past. And for the first time in a long time, I began to breathe again, to live again. One day, I decided to send Ethan a photo of us as kids, grinning and carefree, a snapshot of the bond we once shared, hoping it would spark something within him, something we could rebuild upon. When he replied with a simple, "I remember that day," it felt like a crack in the wall between us, a flicker of hope amidst the darkness, a sign that perhaps our bond wasn't entirely lost. I knew it would take time, but I was ready to rebuild. to mend the pieces of our broken relationship, even if it felt daunting, even if it felt like climbing a mountain in the dark. As the seasons changed, so did I. I learned to embrace the complexity of love and betrayal, understanding that family is never perfect, but it can be a tapestry of both pain and beauty. It was a long journey, filled with ups and downs, but with each step, I felt myself becoming stronger, more resilient, like a phoenix rising from the ashes of my childhood. I learned that sometimes we grow apart to grow together. And as I looked toward the future, I held on to the hope that one day we might find our way back to each other, that our bond could be rekindled in the warmth of understanding and forgiveness. Thank you for watching. For more real stories and powerful dramas, be sure to like, subscribe, and explore our Twisted Ancestry channel.